Today on Steelers Talk, we're going to be talking about an NFL analyst that thinks that the Pittsburgh Steelers should target defensive tackle Jonathan Allen via trade this offseason. I'll break that down here in just a second. And then, of course, today is day one of Steelers rookie minicamp. I got my takeaways later in today's show from day one, so make sure you guys stick around. But before we get into this here, we are trying to catch up to Seahawks Today, our Seahawks channel here at Chat Sports, and we've been catching up to these guys for a long time. When I first started here at Chat Sports, Steelers Talk had about 14,000 subscribers or so, and Seahawks had about 35, okay? So we have gained ground like crazy over these past 2 years on Seahawks, and we're just about to pass them. Right now, we're just under 200 subs away, so let's pass them right now. Make sure you click that subscribe button. If that's not enough to have you guys click that subscribe button, here is what the host of Seahawks Today, Tyler Jones, who is also our Ravens host, by the way, has to say about the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's nothing worse than a Steelers fan. They always think they're better than everyone else because of their 6 rings. What a joke. How many championships have they won in the last 10 years? The Steelers have been way better more recently. So if you want to shut his mouth right now, go ahead and help us pass him right now. Help us pass his channel and total subscribers by clicking that subscribe button and showing Tyler Jones why the Steelers Nation is number one in the National Football League. Okay, now let's get to today's top story here, where Justin Mello from the Draft Network says that the Steelers should target defensive tackle Jonathan Allen via trade during the 2024 offseason. Now, obviously here on the channel, we've talked about a lot of different trade possibilities, wide receivers, cornerbacks, all these different positions. I'm not really somebody that's been talking a lot about defensive tackles, but here's what Mello had to say about going out and getting Jonathan Allen. Cam Heyward has been the league's most consistently dominant defensive tackle over the previous decade. He's entering his age 35 season in 2024 and the final year of his contract. The Steelers should start thinking about a succession plan. Trading for Allen and pairing him with Heyward for a season isn't the worst idea. It could even keep Heyward most effective as more of a rotational defender before Allen flawlessly steps into his full-time role in 2025. Keeping Russell Wilson's contract to a 1-year, $1.2 million agreement has given Pittsburgh maximum flexibility. General Manager Omar Khan has a top 5 amount of effective cap space heading into next offseason at $73.7 million as well. So you take a look at Jonathan Allen here, and if you're talking about a succession plan to Cam Heyward, I think it's a little bit weird that your solution is a 29-year-old player here that's been in the league for quite a while. Now, if you want to look for somebody that can take over for Cam relatively quickly, I think Allen can definitely do that. He's a really good player, still has 2 years left on his current contract. The Commanders drafted Johnny Newton out of Illinois, a defensive tackle in the 2nd round, so it's definitely possible for the Washington Commanders to trade Allen for the right price, and he might not want to be a part of a rebuild there in Washington. We know they just drafted Jaden Daniels. They have a new head coach. They're kind of rebuilding and starting from scratch. Jonathan, somebody that's been in the league for a while, has never really been a part of a winning team or culture, and at 29 years old, he knows his time is running out, and he might want a fresh start with a winning franchise, potentially like the Pittsburgh Steelers. However, I doubt that this happens, and I really don't think that this kind of trade is on the Pittsburgh Steelers' radar right now, at least in my opinion. I just don't really see Allen as somebody that the Steelers would want to go get right now, because I actually don't think defensive tackle is a big need for them. You have Cam Heyward, yes, right now at 3 technique, and sure, you can think about a succession plan down the road, but you also have Keanu Benson, who can also play 3 technique. So if Cam ends up leaving next year, you can move Keanu into that role, and then you can get another nose tackle in the draft or in free agency next year, or you can draft or sign Heyward's replacement in free agency or via trade next offseason. So I just don't really see where a Jonathan Allen could fit on this defensive line. He's not really a 5 technique because he's more of a bigger guy, so he could either play 3 technique or 1 technique, but I really don't see him fitting in to Larry Ogunjobi's spot. I like the way the Steelers' defensive line is currently assembled here. Larry still has 2 more years left on his contract. Cam is on the last year of his contract, might be in the last year of his career, and then Keanu is just getting going, had a really stellar rookie season. So I really don't think it's going to be worth the price for the Steelers to get Jonathan Allen because he is a really good player. The Commanders are going to want a pretty hefty sum for him, especially because he still has 2 years left on his contract. So I think the price would be around a 3rd-round pick for Jonathan Allen's services, and I'd rather spend that third-round pick in a trade, if you're going to use that third-round pick for a trade, on a wide receiver. I'll talk about that here in just a little bit. But first, let me know, would you accept this trade to get Jonathan Allen on the Steelers' defensive line? Type A if you're going to accept it, or type D if you're going to decline it. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by letting me know if you accept or decline. Personally, I mean, I guess you guys could probably guess this. I would decline this trade offer from the Washington Commanders that would send Jonathan Allen to the black and gold. And the reasoning for that is I just don't think it's a huge need. And if I'm going to trade, and I'm going to trade a third-round draft pick for somebody, I'm using that to trade for a wide receiver. It is a way bigger need on this roster, in my opinion. Go use that third-round pick or even like a second-round pick on a guy like Deebo Samuel, somebody like Cortland Sutton, somebody like DK Metcalf. Go get a legit number 2 wide receiver to pair on the other side of George Pickens this year. That is something that I want to get done, and that's something that I think the Steelers should keep their focus on right now, instead of trying to get a 29-year-old Jonathan Allen and add him to a defensive line that's already pretty good. So up next here on Steelers Talk, it is day 1 of Steelers rookie minicamp. I've got my takeaways coming up here on the other side of this ad break here. But before we get into that, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at Fanatics. Go to chatsports.com/Russ to get your officially licensed Russell Wilson jersey for the Pittsburgh Steelers, just in time for the 2024 season, man. I'm a big believer in Russell Wilson. I think he's a great fit for what the Steelers are looking for out of the quarterback position heading into kind of this phase of this football team where they're trying to win championships. They're trying to get somebody that's been there and done that. I think Wilson's going to be somebody that steps in and has immediate success for this football team. If you agree with me, you can get his jersey right now by going to chatsports.com/Russ. So now let's get into the takeaways here for day 1 of rookie minicamp. Of course, minicamp's going to be going on throughout the entire weekend here, but day 1 is definitely an important day because, we get to see where they're kind of putting them and all these different things. And speaking of that, the big question coming into the week was, where are they going to put Troy Fautanu? Left side or right side? And we got our answer today, and it's on the right side. Now, you guys have heard me say on the show that I think Fautanu should play left tackle, and they should keep Broderick Jones at right tackle, where he finished off the season pretty decently there in 2023. This is what Broderick had to say, though, this offseason about potentially moving back to left tackle. I would say I'm more comfortable on the left just because I've been playing it for so long. I don't have as many reps on the right side. And that's a perfectly fair point there by Broderick. If he feels more comfortable on the left side, I'm sure he's let the Steelers brass know that. We've heard Omar Khan say that they eventually want to move Broderick over to the left side. So I think what it's looking like right now is that Fautanu has said publicly that he feels comfortable playing on the left or right side. He played right tackle quite a bit in high school, and he's very comfortable on that side. He has cross-trained on the left and right sides throughout his entire life, whereas Broderick is somebody that before last year, where he had to fill in for Chukwuma Okorafor on the right side for the second half of the season last year, he was pretty much exclusively a left tackle his entire life. So I think the thinking goes here, we're going to put these guys where they're most comfortable, Broderick on the left and Fautanu on the right. But for the record here, I think that they should play Fautanu on the left side. I think he's a better pass protector than Broderick on the left side. And I think you got to put your best pass protector on that left side to protect your quarterback's blind side. We know Russell Wilson sometimes likes to hold the ball a little bit here, so they might be holding it, especially on third downs, trying to make big plays. I think you need your best overall pass protector on the left side. So if it's me personally, it makes more sense to put Fautanu, the better pass protector, on the left side, and then Broderick, who's more of a mauling run blocker, put him on the right side. That's personally what I would do. However, I do trust Mike Tomlin and this Steelers coaching staff to make the right call here. If they decide to put Broderick on the left side, I think that I'm going to be 100% cool with whatever they decide. And I understand the reasoning why you would do that. If Broderick feels more comfortable on the left and Troy's like, hey man, I'll play on either side, I guess it makes sense in terms of keeping both guys happy and putting the best 5 out there and keeping everybody comfortable where they're comfortable playing. And then speaking of the offensive line here, rookie guard out of South Dakota State. Mason McCormick played at right guard today mostly. Now, McCormick did say after practice that they're going to be moving him around to center and left guard as well, and expect to see that throughout this offseason process. Right now, McCormick is kind of being slated in and kind of slid in as that first off the bench on the interior of the offensive line. If Zach Frazier, if Isaac Seumalo, or if James Daniels gets hurt, expect Mason to be plugged into any spot that the injury occurs, right? So Mason's going to be that guy that's going to be able to play all three positions. I think he's smart enough to do that. I think he showed some really good stuff today as well, some really nice movement skills that you want to see from somebody that you expect to maybe even be a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward. And the fact that they're putting him at right guard, the position that James Daniels plays, that makes you wonder, is this bad news for James Daniels? Because we have been speculating, okay, so if you're bringing Mason McCormick in and you think he's a future starter, who's more likely to be traded or let go? Is it James Daniels or is it Isaac Seumalo? And I think the fact that they're playing him more at right guard indicates that McCormick could be a future right guard starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or at least that's how the Steelers see him, which of course means James Daniels, who's a free agent next offseason, might be in his final year here at the Black and Gold. Then another takeaway from day one, here's that Beanie Bishop Jr. out of West Virginia, an undrafted free agent, is the name to watch in camp this weekend. All right, this is what Thomas Valentine from Pro Football Focus had to say about Beanie Bishop Jr. Bishop has earned successive 70.0 plus coverage grades in 3 straight seasons with 3 separate programs, a real sign of his natural talent. The former Mountaineer lined up as a boundary corner for the majority of his college career and could provide excellent outside cover for the Steelers. But here's the thing, Thomas. It actually looks like Beanie's going to be playing in the slot. He played slot during the drills and all these different things during practice today. And it seems like he might be even an immediate contributor as a nickel corner because the Steelers pretty much don't have one at this point. So you look at the depth chart, and I honestly think, maybe other than Josiah Scott right now, Beanie Bishop Jr. might be the best slot corner on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. You got Joey Porter Jr. and Dante Jackson, who have only played on the outside in their NFL careers to this point. Joey Porter Jr., I think we all know, is exclusively outside. I think if you wanted to get like a Stephon Gilmore or trade for a Marshawn Lattimore this offseason, you could maybe move Dante Jackson to the slot. I think he has the skill set to do that, but he's never done that in his NFL career, at least not consistently. He never did it in college either. So Beanie Bishop Jr. is the type of guy, that had the ball production in college. 4 interceptions last year with West Virginia and double-digit pass breakups as well. He's a very talented individual. I was surprised to see that he got undrafted, and I'm very happy the Steelers were able to get him. He was impressive today for the first day of rookie minicamp, and I think he's got a significant possibility, especially if they don't sign a Cam Sutton or if they don't bring in another corner this offseason. I think Bishop Jr. has a chance to be a day one contributor as an undrafted free agent. And speaking of undrafted free agents here, Daijun Edwards, running back out of Georgia, was really turning heads today, man. He looked the part of an NFL running back. He is a bigger back that can move extremely well. I think that this is somebody that could be a steal as an undrafted free agent, and he's kind of a little bit in the mold of like a kind of a lighter version of Najee Harris. Now, if Daijun Edwards continues to impress in the offseason program, and if he continues to play well, especially into the season, that means that it's more likely that Najee Harris gets traded either in this offseason, which I think is a lot more unlikely, or even at the trade deadline. If Daijun Edwards is really playing well and he's getting into the rotation and you can feel comfortable with Jaylen Warren and Daijun Edwards as your number 1 and number 2 backs, I do think Najee, who's going to be a free agent next offseason, could be on the trade block come the trade deadline. I don't really think Edwards is going to establish himself as a mainstay in this rotation in this offseason program. I don't think it'll be that fast, so I don't think Najee will get traded this offseason. But at the trade deadline here is definitely something to keep your eye on. And then we go to Payton Wilson here, who of course fell down the NFL draft this year. I mean, some people had him as their number 1 inside linebacker. He fell down the board because of some injury issues in his past, and the knee and the shoulder, and he's had a lot of injuries in his past, man. Lots of surgeries. But man, he's one hell of a football player, and people are raving about this kid in practice, okay? Aaron Curry said that he was calling defensive plays from the first day. He already knows the Steelers' defensive playbook, and he was calling out plays. He was calling out audibles, all these different things, changing the play. This guy is a very instinctual and very intelligent player, and he's somebody that can absolutely be a future green dot for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I 100% believe that. And listen, man, Elandon Roberts is the current green dot. He was a very valuable piece to the Steelers defense last year, and I think he's going to have another good year in 2024. But I think his days here in Pittsburgh might be numbered. If Payton Wilson comes out and has a stellar rookie season, I do expect him to be a part of the linebacker rotation to start the NFL season, and he's only going to get more playing time throughout the year. Roberts is a free agent next year. He's not the best pass defender. He's more known as a blitzer and as a run defender. I could absolutely see Payton Wilson taking Elandon Roberts' role as the starting green dot in this defense moving forward, especially if he has a stellar rookie season. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. Will Payton Wilson be a full-time starting inside linebacker for the Pittsburgh Steelers by year 2 of his NFL career? Type Y for yes, you think he's going to replace Elandon, or type N for no, you think Elandon will keep his job. Okay, now Monday, guys, I'm off the next couple of days for the weekend here when the rest of the minicamp is going to be going on. But on Monday, I'm going to have my winners and losers list for Steelers rookie minicamp. You're not going to want to miss that, so make sure you click that subscribe button. And then also give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram, or X, whatever you guys want to call it here, at Jack_Sperry on X. I'm going to be posting updates, clips, highlights, all these different things from rookie minicamp this weekend. And then also, if you want more NFL content from me on IG, you can go to at sparedog.football on IG for that kind of content. All right, that'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now to help us pass Seahawks today and stick it to Tyler Jones.